This is Josh. He's a regular looking student. He's studying philosophy and he's very much into his mind and in rationality, but he has a problem because Josh has a very hard time crying. He cannot cry, and sometimes he knows that he has to get rid of some emotions, but he doesn't know how because he's too logical. And one day Josh is walking down the street of his university and he bumps into an old wise man called Lee. And Lee starts explaining to him how he just came from one of his breathwork sessions. And Lee goes on and explains that he invented a type of breathwork, which is a combination of holotropic breathwork and Wim Hof breathing, that enables him to tap into different kinds of mind states and also to get in a better touch with his own body. And he sends Josh home and tells him about how to do the exercise. Josh tries it, and it's the first time in years that he was actually able to cry. He already felt that there was something stuck inside of him, but he never really knew how to let it out. And the next day he comes back to Lee and he is amazed and tells him about the wonderful results that it brought him. By the end of the video you will know the type of breath work that Lee told to Josh and how to do it, and I will also give you a playlist that I made and that I'm personally using on Spotify that has the right beat to keep up with the breathing, and it also has the right timing so you know when to change the type of breathing. So first, a little bit of background about this type of breathing exercises. Stanislav Grof was a psychoanalyst and he was experimenting with LSD in the United States, and he was doing research into different states of consciousness and whether these different states of consciousness could actually help people with mental problems. So for his experiments, his patients were using LSD, but eventually, of course, this got banned in America, and he had to find a different way of getting his patients into a different state of mind. And he created something called holotropic breathwork. And the reason why he calls this holotropic breathwork is because holotropic is, he says, the opposite of helotropic. And helotropic is your ordinary state of mind, and holotropic is the alternate state of mind that you can experience by doing these types of breath work. He wrote a few different books. One of them is called Holotropic Breathwork, in which he also explains that throughout thousands of years, the breath in many cultures has always been the same word as life. But when the Western world started to get enlightened in the scientific sense, they started to divide everything up and kind of like become super materialistic and think of the breath only as a medical term or a biological term of getting the oxygen into your body. And they separated this definition of life from breath. But in any other culture, life and breath are very similar or the same words. I've seen people on the internet from the 60s who said that they have been doing this type of breath work for 2 or 3 hours straight. I've never heard about this before, and it seems very extreme because what I'm about to explain to you, for me, often only takes about 15 minutes to half an hour. And after explaining what exactly you will be doing, I will also be telling you my personal experiences with doing this type of breath work. I think it's very powerful. It also helps me to get in touch with my feelings. So before doing this, you want to make sure that you're comfortable, that you might even have some tissues laying around because your nose might start running, or you might even start crying because there could be some emotions coming up. And also, I personally really like to keep a notebook next to me because I always get, I think at least, really good ideas. Even when I look back at them afterwards, they still seem like good ideas, so that's also recommended. The next step is to turn on the Spotify playlist that I've linked in the description, or turn on any music that you personally like as long as it has the right rhythm. And you're just going to start basically hyperventilating, although in most people's minds this has a kind of negative connotation, but it's used in many different breath works to just flush out the CO2 out of your system. And you will be doing this for 10 to 15 minutes or even longer if you like. These are the first 3 songs in the playlist, and you're just going to follow the rhythm, try to breathe in as fully as possible and out again, and also let your body move how it wants to move. So if you feel that maybe you want to move your chest upwards and downwards, just do that. Or maybe you want to raise your legs, or whatever you feel like doing, just trust that inner guide that you have. And also, it can be very common that your hands are just going to start pointing into different weird shapes. Like some people will start doing this. I watched Matt Diafella, another guy on YouTube, doing this breath work, and he started doing like this, like his hands were getting a bit cramped. Also, he was not having very high expectations of it, and later he did start crying during the breathwork session, so I think that shows how powerful it can be. Personally, somehow I very often just start pointing my fingers. I don't know why. I guess people say that it has certain meanings. I don't know. So I'm curious to hear what kind of effect you're going to be experiencing on a bodily level, but also on a psychological level. So after like 5 or 10 minutes, you're already going to be noticing that you're not really in the same kind of state of mind as you were normally. Like for me, it always feels like it's a check-in and a reset of my whole body. After the first 10 or 15 minutes, whenever you feel comfortable, or when the last song starts in the playlist, which is a very calm song, so there won't be any fast pacing rhythms anymore, you will start doing the Wim Hof method, which is basically breathe in for 30 times as much as you can, and then at the 30th breath you're going to keep your breath out, and then you're going to keep it until you cannot hold it out any longer. And then you're going to breathe in for 15 seconds or however long you like. Like this is the point where you're honestly not really going to keep track of how many times you've counted. So I can tell you how many times to count, but you're going to be in a different state of mind right at this moment. And then you can just repeat this last process of breathing in for 30 times and then just keeping your breath out. And you can just keep doing this for like 2, 3, 4 times, however long you like. And you will also notice that it will become stronger and stronger. And this is the point where I'm going to be explaining my own experiences with this. So actually for me, the first time I experienced it, how powerful it was also a similar situation as Josh from the story, where I knew that there were some emotions stuck, but I couldn't really get them out. So I tried some holotropic breath work, and then all of a sudden they all flushed out. And many times that doesn't really happen, which is also totally fine. Like, then you just feel calm. It really depends on like which chapter you are in your life, or how your day is going, like your set and setting basically, and whatever is kind of subconsciously repressed inside of your system. And sometimes you might see some slight visuals, or sometimes you might get like these tinglings all over your body. And for me personally, I get a lot of insights into like how I'm going to tackle the next problem in my life, or it gets kind of pointed out to me which challenge in my life I have to overcome at that moment, or also like getting me just closer to intuition, to my feelings. So I think that's can be used as a really good tool. Sometimes it also resembles the experience of nitrous. And another thing that I like to do is to push or massage certain points when you are holding your breath out. Somehow, I don't know why, like I don't have explanations for everything, but as long as it works, right? It really helps to somehow trigger some stuff to come up. So I hope this was really helpful. In a nutshell, it's turn on the music for the right rhythm, do basically keep breathing in and out rapidly and deeply for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then do it very deeply for 30 times, and then just keep your breath out until you can't hold it any longer. Breathe in again, and then you can repeat the 30 big breaths and your breath out again, and you can just keep repeating that, whatever feels comfortable for you. So I'm really curious to hear what it will be doing for you. It might be helpful to do it with a friend, or maybe it might be helpful to do it alone, depending on your own preference. I hope that it can be as helpful for you as it was for me. If you're curious about another video where I explain different states of mind, also sober, during my Vipassana experience, then you can watch the video in the corner over here. And thanks for watching. I will see you in another video.